Cue and start. There we go.
Dun,
Cool.
dun, dun. Welcome to
Yes. Open
Gundam style.
Up.
Open Gundam style.
So we are back after having watched 5 more episodes.
5 more episodes, so we're on we finished episode 10.
Yep, exactly.
Episode 10.
Yeah, so for those following along, this is the point at which Lady Matilda-san shows up, and Garma Zabi has just fought his last battle, shall we say.
Yeah,
So,
gone down with the ship.
Yes, absolutely, in every sense of the word.
Very noble.
Yeah, I got kind of...
Despite being...
just straight up double-crossed.
Double-crossed. Big time double-crossed.
Man, what's going on with
Total
Char
turn.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's come over to, well, not the dark side, but the side of reasonability, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Char certainly is doing something different.
Yes.
I mean, he certainly has his own views.
Well, we've seen more of a human side to both sides.
True.
And maybe there's more at work here than just an epic struggle of good and evil, but
the
human condition of the struggle for power rather than just us them thing. There's we humans on this side, we humans on that side. Okay, well, can they work it out?
Exactly. And that's, I think, one of the brilliant things about this series is how much it dives into the so-called enemies' lives and politics and loves and everything else. We really get to feel what they feel, which you certainly don't see in a lot of other anime series.
There was a very quick romance, though.
That was
a very quick romance. So it was over quickly, almost as quickly as it started. But I have a feeling, are we going to see more of her character?
We might. That's a good question. Yeah. Iselina and Garma. Yeah, it's very much a tragic romance. That was just
not to be
too bad.
Her dad kind of didn't want it to be. It
very much either. Not so.
So whack.
Hello.
Well, now was that the romance, or was that her just going out and being crazy that he didn't want to be?
Well, I think it was that she was going to abandon him and abandon her father and any. Oh, nice. So I think what they were getting with there is that probably her father had his own plans for her and marriage and how that all was going to work out.
But it seems like he would play either side to keep his power.
And I wonder if that isn't what they were going with, where if she actually married one of the Zabis, Garma Zabi,
he would have to choose sides.
He would just be nailed down to one side.
He can't keep the wet finger in the air and say, okay, I'm going with whoever wins this.
Exactly. So
I was your mole on the inside when it was bad. Politicians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to our Gundams. So we're moving along with yes. So we the Build Strike Gundam here, and your Unicorn Gundam Banshee. Banshee Horn, I believe. Banshee Norn, excuse me. Which is a pretty awesome mobile suit
Destroy mode.
In destroy mode, which is pretty cool. So we will try to get that. It doesn't want to stay, but that's all right. Yeah, we'll just...
Hey, can lean it against
there we are.
Laser.
That works. Oh, that looks really awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
That works out pretty well.
So then we continue where we left off.
Got my decals.
There we go. Yeah, you were just working on details last time, weren't you?
Yes.
Is that where we left off?
Lots of details and decals.
Yes. And so
so many different frames here. So keeping track of the frames. That's right. There's A, B, C, D, and so on.
Correct. And so there's the
here are my pieces.
Cool.
Are we rolling on this one?
That's a good question.
Let's see.
Doesn't look like it.
But for those of us who are looking through that, I don't know. I'll show you a different lens.
1 second. There we go. You should be good to go on that.
So, piece came off here.
Oh, no.
I'll have to get back to that piece, but
so there's the Build Strike for those watching there. There we go. And those watching over here, here's the Build Strike Gundam. So we have a couple different cameras here that we're playing around with this time. We can even switch over to the new fancy schmancy overhead shot. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
So I've got frame A and frame B, and I will see where I was. Now, for those who are just joining us, we're building Gundams.
Yep.
And there's some useful tools to have on hand. Besides the model, you have to have the model.
Yep.
What are some of the common tools to have if you're building one of these?
So the tools of the trade. That's a great question. So they're designed so you don't need any of them, but the ones that are most useful are clippers like these for getting parts off of sprues. So it's more convenient to get them off that way. Also handy are even those pliers, kind of similar there for pulling things off. Some things you can just kind of pop right off of some of those sprues rather easily that way. So even those pliers are helpful. And then also, of course, your blade of choice.
The cutter.
The cutter. And again, that's because you're going to get some bits, exposed on there you want to slice off. The other one that's actually very, very handy is sandpaper.
Sandpaper.
Yeah. So it's really handy to have this to sand off those little bits that are sticking off.
Little burrs that when you remove it from the frame, it's not completely flush or smooth. You just sand that off and it makes it nice and smooth.
Exactly. Now, if we were painting this in a lot of detail, we would sand that off and then basically repaint each of these. We'd spray it with primer and add some paint again, just to hide any of those little marred spots. Oh, yeah.
That'll give a nice professional look to it.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe that'll be our next kit. We'll do that on
and some people go as far as putting battle damage paint onto it. Not just decals, but they go the full magnifying glass, doing every little brush stroke with the fine hair brush.
Very much so, yeah. Well, and of course, you got to remember that these things are replicas of creations that stand, tens of feet tall. So they're trying to get across that scale. So there's all sorts of detail that would be there in a real thing. You're gonna want to try to get to do. The other thing too is when you're going to that level of detail, you're probably getting a higher detail, larger kit. Since we're starting with a smaller, less expensive kit, that gives us a little more flexibility. But with a larger kit, you get more detail. You can really get into those little spots and take off a little chunk here and there. But yeah, you can actually absolutely do that.
Let's see.
So let me see. So that was my one arm. So there, I got my first arm. So now I need to go and do the other
instructions.
So I think that's just going to be replicating the first arm. Trying to see if there's anything new on that arm. Yeah, there's the right arm. There's the left arm. Oh no, there are instructions for every single one. Okay.
Every single piece now.
Yeah.
If you set down a kit, you got to figure out where you left off on it, and that can sometimes be
indeed
the task there.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why you'll notice we aren't. You can imagine what would happen if you immediately took everything off all the sprues. Some people will start with model kits that way, and it's not advisable.
That would make it hard to identify all the parts because some of them are very similar, and some of them have a left and a right, and knowing which one was supposed to be the left or the right. This is a brand new.
Oh, nice! Pulling that right off.
I was wondering why the magnifying glass looked fuzzy there.
Hey, Dark Devil. Glad to see you. So yeah, so he is building. We'll actually show you the model kits again. So Evan is doing a Banshee Norn Unicorn Gundam.
I'm not sure if the lighting there is gonna cooperate with us, but
yeah, close enough.
There we go.
Nice.
A little better.
Yep, and I've got a Build Strike Gundam from Gundam Build Fighters. So Gundam Unicorn and Gundam Build Fighters on display here. And we start with 11 and E10. So I'm just popping off the shoulders of the Gundam, the Build Strike Gundam. And again, these are, just making sure I'm correct with this, these are, what grade are these? High grade kits.
High grade, what's that mean?
It means they're the smallest, basically. Smallest and least expensive.
So I don't have to be of a certain level of model building expertise at that?
Right. Now, it's actually a good point. All of the model kits, Gundam model kits are designed along these lines where you don't need huge amounts of detail or expertise. The larger ones are just a lot more complicated with a lot more pieces and such. So, not a great idea for a first kit. Just because you'll be spending decades building it. Much less some of the really, really big ones there. MPC3. Just got a notification. Let me guess. Thunderstorms. Yep, thunderstorms. So this is worth mentioning, actually. We got thunderstorms moving into the area. So
just in case we disappear.
Yeah, quite possible. I need a C12.
So we will post this again.
Yes. And I do have the video from last time, but I had some trouble exporting it. So I've got to rebuild that. But we will be posting video from last time, all nice and assembled. C12. Where's 12? So yeah, these episodes of Gundam were a little more plotty, I would say.
There was a lot more development of personalities, and a little bit more humanizing. It wasn't just okay. Here we are.
Yeah.
As a cohesive organization, it's well, there's struggle for power within an organization. There's individual personalities and approaches within an organization, and we see within the Federation there. Very different personalities. I'm impressed with the way Kai kind of is sort of smirky, sarcastic-y, and he gets away with it to some degree. But I wonder how long that'll go before it bites him. We saw when he finally got to pilot, he wasn't exactly the best pilot, though he was more mature than
Amuro.
Amuro. His maturity level didn't necessarily translate into his battle behavior. He shut off all his guns before he should have. Yeah,
and there was that moment where Bright finally decked him, which kind of gives you an idea that he can't just keep on mouthing off forever. But yeah, no, I think that's a good point. In fact, I wanted to bring up Bright. What do you think about Bright compared to how he was in earlier episodes? Bright being the commander of the white base of the ship.
Initially, it seems that he's developing his role of leadership, but I'm not sure exactly how that's going to pan out. He's taking more of a, well, he's growing in that way, but growing always goes with growing pains.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's interesting. I mean, in those earlier episodes, he's certainly a lot more harsh.
He is. So he's developing his role as a leader, but trial and error is a expensive school of leadership.
I think it was interesting how they gave him that commander, and I'm gonna forget his name, but the guy they got from, I think, Luna 2, who took over command temporarily when they landed there, and then he commands White Base for a few episodes. I think episodes 6 through 8 or so. And he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that didn't kind of impress upon Bright the importance of better behavior, of being a little more easy to get along with.
That seems like a good assessment. Sometimes we learn through others' mistakes more than we learn through our own, and that's a less expensive school of education.
This is true.
I think was it Thomas Jefferson who said that? No, it was who was it? Ben Franklin. I think I'm paraphrasing very far from what he said, but it's a less expensive school to learn from others' mistakes.
Yeah, so true.
And so seeing what other people do, you can compress a lot of real world experience and apply it to your own life.
Yeah. Well, you want the HG, the high grade high new. That's cool.
High new. Now,
yes.
What's the high new?
That is another mobile suit, and actually, I think I can pull it up on screen, and then maybe show you guys a little bit of that. Good. No. I will move away from the. Yeah, that is lovely. I don't know what the high new is from. Is that here? Oh wow, that's a quite obscure one. Speaking.
Oh, I think I hear a little bit of thunder in the background there.
Yep.
So D11. Wow.
So for those watching on the stream, that's the high new Gundam there. Ooh, very nice design. Very slick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what scale was that?
That was high grade, same as these.
Same grade.
Yep.
High grade.
And then we have that little thing.
With my high grade, I think it was a little bit different scale, wasn't it? Just like 144. Oh, they're both 144?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should all be 144. Now, some mobile suits in the different franchises are different sizes. So,
so 144 may be a different size of another 144.
Exactly.
True scale.
Yeah. It gets a little complicated. Yeah, there's some absurdly huge mecha in the Gundam universe. So sometimes it gets a little...
So for all you cosplayers,
yeah,
be sure to scale it.
Yeah,
so that you can get through the door.
Exactly. Yeah, those Gundam cosplayers are amazing. They're actually cosplaying in like the armor.
That must get pretty heavy, even with the lightest materials.
Oh, yeah.
They almost need the robotics just to to move the suit.
If I see one in the morning, I usually don't see him cosplaying in the evening.
Maybe with a different pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Very dramatic in here. I love it.
Wow, that thunder is pretty serious.
Okay, so moving on to the spin off of Char's counterattack. Cool. Yeah, Beltorchika's children, which I need to at some point check out. See.
Let's see. D1.
C11. Now, of course, as good as it is that Bright is getting a little more mature, I think is a fair word. Amuro certainly struggles with that in these episodes.
Amuro, it seemed, had symptoms of PTSD.
Yeah,
and
true.
Initially he rose to the occasion as a hero of default just because of the situation. But we can see that it's wearing on him now, and it's understandable that anybody in that situation would have some stress, and they haven't really let up on him. They have him continually moving forward because he's the best they've got.
Yeah.
But we can see his age and the exhaustion kind of starting to change his attitude and approach.
Yeah.
And he's becoming more of the reluctant sort of reluctant hero there.
Yeah, definitely.
And some of the maturity is showing there. Or immaturity, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, because these episodes have the famous or infamous Bright slap. Where Bright just comes up and whacks Amuro upside the face and gives that famous line, you need to grow up real fast, Amuro. After Amuro says the immortal line, you hit me, my own father never even hit me.
Yeah, that was
like, oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is definitely a learning experience there.
Definitely. Well, and I think that's one of the reasons that I think Gundam was such a watershed anime series. I mean, before that, when you had anime series dealing with, young people piloting giant robots and saving the universe, the idea was this is an awesome thing to do. It's amazing. You're able to do all these amazing things. It may be very stressful. And some of the anime series could get very dark, but the actual piloting of the giant robot was always seen as a pretty fun, awesome thing.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, I think, when an anime series really emphasized how difficult that is.
This is a chore. This is work.
It is. And the fact that, like adulthood, you got to do it. And
you got to do it when you don't feel like doing it, as well as when you do enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that
he's conscripted quickly into the true defense of the Trojan
horse.
The
yes,
Trojan horse.
It.
Of course, the Federation doesn't call it that, but and now you explain to me again why the Federation calls it one thing and the Xeon. I always trip up on Xeon. Too much Xena and chemistry. Xeon. Why do they view it as one name and the Federation as another?
So it's a wonderfully realistic approach, which is that if you imagine that one country launches a secret battleship and it suddenly appears in hostile waters someday and it's running around doing stuff and fighting, the enemy isn't going to know what the other country named that ship. It's not going to be announced in Jane's ships that month.
The ship of the month name.
Exactly. It's just going to be, there's this battleship out there that we have to fight.
We got to call it something.
Yeah.
We have to refer to it.
And from the Xeon's perspective, and there's something that's kind of glossed over a bit in the original series, Side 7, where the show starts, is a neutral colony. They have not been engaged in the war at all. So, they're part of the Earth Federation, but they have not been involved. And so the idea that Char on this routine mission comes up to Side 7 and finds this Federation mobile suit that's been hiding there, really, and then suddenly launches from this colony and attacks them. It's like a Trojan horse, and it is kind of horse shaped. It does have that sort of that neat shape, sort of the hooves outside and all that stuff. In fact, it's called a Pegasus class cruiser in Gundam.
Do they make besides Gundam models? Do they make the cruiser?
Oh yes. In fact, I've been lusting after the Musai design from Xeon. Their big standard cruiser design. Unfortunately, I've only been able to find those in very expensive kits and stuff.
One day.
And yes, that's a good point, Dark Devil. Is that Bright is 19 years old.
He's not that much older than...
No, he's not. Now, of course, he volunteered.
It's much different than suddenly being thrown into it because you just happened to read the manual that was
exactly
secured. That's a very bold move on his part, but
yeah.
Once they quickly conscripted him. I mean,
yeah.
There was no formal conscription. It was, okay, you can pilot it. We're sending you out. You're our best, and that's surprise.
Exactly. And granted, I mean, it's war. You have this very difficult conflict to fight, and you've got somebody who can pilot it, and nobody else can because everyone else died. So it's a military,
out of necessity.
Yeah. So it's understandable but different. Now, Tomino, the director, his original idea was that Amuro would be a test pilot. He originally wanted Amuro to be one of the pilots that they had brought on because he found it was kind of unrealistic that a random 15-year-old could just jump into a giant robot and pilot it. But he was overruled, and kind of understandably so. They said kind of, well, that's true, but it's just so much more awesome when you're watching as a kid.
Yeah.
To imagine that you could actually do this.
Yeah, it's not that hard. So sometimes the naivety of youth takes us to places that we wouldn't go had we more experience and wisdom.
True.
And that's the excitement. I mean, there's also the young eyes can see better than somebody who's much older aspect to it. But there's also the we will tread where angels fear because we know no better.
Yeah. And also, I mean, let's just be honest, the pure vicariousness of that, the idea that as a young person, you could do this.
Yeah, rising to the occasion. There's no one else to do it. It needs to be done.
Huh. Okay.
It's possible to read the manual and then do something.
Yeah.
And we see that he didn't learn everything there, and he's learning more as he goes along. But to that point, not too many other people had, and if they had read the manual, they weren't around to come and pilot it.
Yeah, exactly.
So somebody wrote that manual, and I'm beginning to wonder. We see a little bit more interaction with the Federation now.
Yeah.
Suddenly appearing. They've been out of communicado with the Federation for quite some time.
Yep.
But now they've come and made their presence known.
Yeah.
But they didn't come and say, "Hey, come on home." They kept them out. They kept the ship out there.
Yeah.
For more. They said they're busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's not as easy for them to say, "Just come on back."
Yeah.
So I'm beginning to think that the Federation has other problems that they're dealing with, and this may just be one front on the entire Xeon rebellion. I don't know why I always default there. Yeah.
And I agree, and that is something they start to deal with a little later on, and it's one of the classic sort of storytelling problems. Is that how do you put people on a huge adventure without inevitably having large amounts of military troops, showing up to resolve it. Larger authorities are going to at some point notice what's going on. Yeah. And so everyone comes up with some way of dealing with that. And in Gundam's case, without getting into too much into later spoilers, there's a reason for that. Like the military is very much intentionally kind of leaving White Base off on its own devices. But yeah, I always feel bad for writers like that because it's there's so much to try to handle in those stories. And I got a lot of sprue on that.
I'm impressed with how accurate all the pieces are manufactured in this. I remember back in the 80s, old testers models and stuff like that, and I'd always see a little bit of flashing here and there that, of course, you need to trim it and cut it, but there was a lot of it. In comparison to these, it's only where the sprue marks are. I don't see any slop or excess, so it's
What's flashing?
Sometimes when they make these holes that the plastic travels along to, there's a little spot where the two molds didn't come completely together, and you'll have a little fin, something like that, and it can happen around the. I think that was a power hit. Yeah, you'll get a little extra plastic.
Yeah. Okay.
And that plastic is, it's not intentional, and it doesn't add to the support to hold the piece. Yeah. Or it may be on the piece itself, and it wasn't intended to be there. I'm not noticing that with these models.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It seems that the process has been very well refined.
Yeah. I'd love to know how many millions of Gundam model kits they've made over the years. Okay, so that goes there, and then U goes up in there like that. That's the only way that can go. And then this goes like this, but it's facing. Oh, whoa! Hello, you need to come off. How did I miss you?
Oh, well, here's something interesting. I see a picture of a pair of tools here. These ones.
Yeah, that just means you need to clip something off, generally speaking, I believe. Let's see, what do we got?
Maybe this little peg here.
Yeah, that's looking right.
So that was probably necessary to let air out so that it could fill all the way into the corner.
Makes sense.
In molding, there's air displacement. And so all these frames have to be designed so that when they fill in, the plastic goes all the way through everything. And the only way that it can do that is if it displaces the air. But if there's plastic being pushed into a spot where the air can't escape, the plastic simply doesn't go there and the piece doesn't come out right. So they'll put in little vents so that the plastic will get all the way to the end. And so something like this little tip here, you can see if you look at it at an angle, there's all these little posts that come up. Those are areas where when they push the plastic through, it can escape.
I see.
Air can escape it, but it's not necessarily part of the piece itself.
Interesting. That makes sense. That's fascinating. That goes.
With all that thunder and lightning, it sounds like a battle going on.
Yeah, exactly. Must be.
Must be.
Yeah.
The Gundams are out there.
Yeah, right. No, the possible explanation. That goes like this. Yeah, I think white base is coming in for a landing. Okay. You're supposed to fit in there.
Now white base had its trouble with the civilian population.
Yes.
And of course they want to get off as soon as possible, which really makes sense. I mean, why would they want to be on something that's going to battle?
Yeah.
But they can't just get off anywhere because they're in
Zeon territory.
Zeon territory.
Yeah.
Which made me think, how much of the Earth is Zeon controlling?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Because in the opening credits, we see that they've crashed a colony into the Earth.
Oof, yeah.
Which is a huge, wow, movement. I mean, that's a very bold statement when you sacrifice a colony, destroying a huge portion of the Earth. Yeah. So that makes me think now that they've got base on the Earth, and not just base on the Earth, but control.
Yeah,
they're a larger force to be reckoned with than just some small colony rebelling against the forces that be.
Right, and that's one of the issues that they had, sort of politically and such, is that unless they actually controlled significant amounts of Earth, whatever they tried was doomed to failure because all the resources, or a lot of the resources are on Earth. There's a lot of minerals and such on in space, but you just need Earth for a lot of things. So they really had to take control of Earth for its resources.
So it's more of a power play for the entire ball of wax, not just independence. We want to be free. They're kind of saying, well, not only are we going to be free, we're taking over.
Well, and it's the other interesting kind of element of that too, is that a Zeon sympathizer would tell you we cannot be free unless we have control of enough resources to make us free. One of the ideas behind the Zeon revolt is that Earth was controlling the colonies through its resources because it could withhold resources at any time, and thus sort of bend the colonies to its will. So that was kind of a bargaining chip that the Zeon had to take control of in order to truly be free. Now, of course, that's a very debatable position, but that was kind of the idea there. One of the cool things about Gundam is that they try to think through the science of their science fiction. So they try to figure out, okay, well, if you're on a space colony, how do you get food? Where do you grow all those vegetables? How much meat do you have?
All that attention to detail really makes for a good story, because then it fills in gaps in the viewer's mind. You can say, well, what are they going to do when they, they do run out of bullets. It's not an infinite carrying capacity that magically appears from nowhere where I have to believe every crazy thing. It's actually, he's run out of bullets.
Yeah.
He's in trouble. That's real.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty awesome.
And that brought up the point of food. which those guys started to you started to see telltale signs of them running out of food, where they're saving the lion's share of food for the pilots who are defending them.
Yeah.
And the people were going hungry. You even saw an old man steal food from the kids. Kids
like
tray.
Yeah.
Which is indicative of some of the harsher times. And of course, they probably didn't stock a lot of food on that place, with the intention of being a refugee ship, which made me think they should really drop off as many of the people as possible. But being in territory that's hostile, that wasn't an option. However, they did drop off some. So how is that?
Well, so there are a couple of things that the series has been hinting at. You'll notice that every time they fly over any sort, well, whenever they're flying over Zeon territory, you either see nature or bombed out cities.
Lots of bombed out cities.
So
it's like time has taken over whatever hasn't been populated by humans or destroyed.
That's the thing, is that the war with Zeon and their control of their territory required so much destruction that there's not that much left, frankly. So it's, how does that fit in there?
I find myself asking those kind of questions quite frequently.
There we go.
There may be a little bit of discussion here.
Hello, Hex Bag. Yes, that's Bebop. You got it right.
Bebop.
Yeah.
Jet and Spike got my back.
Exactly. Yes, I love the pink bubblegum goop that they use to whenever there's a hull breach. They just sort of pull a lever.
That is brilliant, and it makes a lot of sense. In other shows, science fiction, anywhere where there's space involved or battle, I've often thought some sort of a plastic sphere of goop would be fantastic for immobilizing a troop. A glue ball, basically, a big mug ball. I'm back to like monkeys throwing poo, but the idea of being able to have something ballistically sent across to your enemy that may not necessarily pierce the shell or may go through them, having something that gums up their gears so it begins to immobilize them. Anything that reduces your opponent's ability to move, shoot, or communicate is leverage in a battle. And we see in this series that there are a natural force of the particles. What were these particles called?
Minovsky particles.
Minovsky particles. And that interferes with their ability to communicate, which is a fantastic physical force of nature as we buy into this world, that it is something that can be leveraged against their opponents. And few flickers here. We're having more thunder and lightning. You may or may not hear that.
Yeah, and it's a great example of that kind of thinking through the science, where you got to decide, okay, why do we have close combat in space? Why don't you just keep it a distance and lob missiles at each other? I mean, or energy balls or what have you. And it's a decent question, and so they answer that by saying, well, the I believe nuclear fission reactors that they use give off these things called Minovsky particles, which block radar as a side effect. And in fact, you'll even it's to the point now where battleships will store excess Minovsky particles and then use them to blanket an area as a sort of a decoy thing, which is a pretty good idea.
In space, it seems like those pink blobs though would be the ideal way of reinforcing any holes through the bulkheads or shell of the ship and stop it from decompressing basically and freezing everybody to death.
Yeah,
something plastic to fill the hole is.
Yeah, you'd want to have something, definitely.
Any realistic science like that, or at least theoretical science that, okay, we've bought into this universe. They're still under the laws of nature though.
Yeah,
and they have to deal with these things. It was a brilliant, and I think that this may be something in science fiction that we'll see as a great concept that somebody will start working towards that end goal, as we see with a lot of different science fiction. A great idea comes out, and then enough people say, well, it could be if we did this, if we did that, this might be doable. Just inspired by the vision of how this can actually be done.
Yeah.
I'm at part B4.
Oh, cool. B4 what? There we go. One of the really fun things about this too is the kind of Lego element of it. Of basically, there will be parts like we were mentioning where you're playing around with it, and suddenly you realize you have no idea how this fits together. But if you play around with it for a while, you can figure it out.
Yeah, just and it develops the visual spatial skills. I find myself after working on a kit like this, really more attuned to fine details and how things fit together. Furniture, even arranging the room.
Absolutely.
Let's see, G27 B4.
There we go.
Oh, lots of B4s.
So that is there. And then A11 and A16. Now, we're under heavy bombardment here. Now, the folks over at Tested are doing a very interesting model kit where they are building a Millennium Falcon model kit. It's a magazine kit, meaning that so every month, so you buy a subscription to a magazine, and every month you get a new issue of the magazine plus parts for kit.
Like installment.
Exactly.
Oh, that is cool.
This is I believe 130 scale Millennium Falcon, so it's about the size of this table.
That's a huge model.
It's ridiculously huge.
Yeah, if they have some space for something like that.
The problem is, because it's a subscription kit, that means it is a 26-month kit.
So that's more than a year there. That's 26. That's more than 2 years.
It's a little over 2 years that they'll be making that kit. And what's also interesting is that every week you get a little every month you get a little bag of parts. I think it was originally a weekly kit, actually.
How far along are they in that?
I just saw the first month. They started on that.
Do they sell back subscriptions?
They do. And I think it's originally a British kit that they're now selling in the US. So the British kit is rather ahead of us, and I think we're a couple of months in, something like that.
So that means it's all in metric rather than standard.
Yeah. But it's interesting watching them play around with that, because you'll get some let's see here. Because you'll get these monthly packages of parts, but of course you're not getting every single part for that month. So some of the parts are for later
and previous.
Yeah, exactly. So so they got a bunch of parts and they put together a few things. Like, that's it? Well, yeah, because in order to space it out, you gotta figure out which parts go where. So it becomes an interesting scenario.
Yeah, an adventure there, putting it together, keeping track of things, and then
right. Well, that's the other side of that too. When you think about it, is it's kind of like what we're doing here. Okay, you're done for the month. Now everything has to go somewhere, because next month you got to bring it all back out and figure out where you were.
Remember, where was I? and you guys may have seen, it took me a little while to figure out, okay, where was I? What part was I on?
Yeah.
Oh, this piece fell off because it's not tight yet. But
yeah, it's tricky. Okay, so that's there. This goes on like.
What's interesting for me is there's more than one way sometimes to put a part in, and it can come to an aesthetic of, well, there's more sand marks on this. This is smoother on that side.
Good point.
And which piece do I want to put in for the most beautiful result?
See here, that looks like it should fit, but it doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just needed some play. Then, Oh,
some play. Some play. Some.
It's almost like we're playing.
Some pla.
Some pla. Yeah, in the Gundam series where they actually battle with Gundam model kits. It's a very weird idea. But there's actually a Gundam series where they do little kind of what's the term for it? Almost like Pokemon style battles with their model kits, and they actually have energy particles in there, and there it's Plavsky particles, and it's plastic combined with Minovsky. Plavsky.
Plavsky.
It took me a while to realize, oh, that's where they're going with that. That's cute. C5. Wow.
Yeah, some thunder and blitzen. Let's see. G2.
Moving on to some of the larger parts here.
G2. Now there was an expo.
Yeah. Nope.
Let's see.
We still seem to be online. 9 viewers. Cool. Oh.
Hopefully this isn't affecting the hub. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. Good point. Japanese Sandman. That's an awesome name.
Japanese Sandman.
Yeah. Imagine you're subscribed to that Millennium Falcon thing, and the 10th issue gets lost in the mail.
No. It cannot be.
Right. And again, they do sell back issues. The other problem with that is that each issue costs $50. So over the course of 26 issues, that's gonna cost a lot.
So if you're gonna do it, you're gonna commit.
Yep, absolutely. They did point out that as expensive as that sounds, it is a metal framed kit. So in a sense, so for something that large, it ends up being something like $1,500 for the entire thing. And they said that's not outside the realm of, it's not a completely insane price for something like that big. It's expensive, but it's, you know.
It should be exciting to see some of the folks who finish those and display them.
Yeah.
I wonder what percentage will get finished. And
good point.
You know, one thing I wonder about is when I'm working on a model. Usually my visual field is what I've got in my hands, and I hear stuff in the background. So I'll try and watch shows that don't require me to look up too much to the show.
Yeah.
And I can listen to almost like a radio program.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what do you listen to when you do models, and what some of our other folks listen to while they do models?
Yeah. What do you guys think, chat room? That's a good question. Personally, I usually listen to music. So if I have a new album I've got that I want to really get into, I will put that on and just play it over and over. I'm one of these weird people. I have a tough time not paying attention to something. So like if it's there and I should be watching it, I'll be watching it. So I just have a really I can't not look up while the show is going on.
I find it hard to ignore certain shows.
Yeah. What shows have you watched that way?
Well, I remember doing some kits where I had Big Bang Theory in the background. And for the most part, I could follow it, but every now and then you have to look and see what's going on. And I kind of feel like I missed out on some of the series because I wasn't watching, because there are certain things that are definitely people's responses that are nonverbal, non sequiturs, a number of different things that you just got to see the scenario to really understand what's going on. But usually you can kind of feel where those are coming in a lot of shows, because the dialogue suddenly slows or there's a lull.
Yeah.
And that lull is not the natural flow of dialogue indicating, oh, hey, look at this.
Pay attention.
Yeah. What I found interesting is some animes are more auditorily communicating shows, and some are more visually communicating shows.
Yeah.
And of course, with some of the anime shows, I gotta look up and see what's going on. But some of them, I can't look away, because as soon as I do, I miss something. And there's a joke, there's a visual representation. Yeah,
well, I imagine watching Cowboy Bebop that way. It just would not work. But for. I mean, Yamada's First Time actually wouldn't be a bad example of a show. I think you could probably watch a fair amount of that way.
Well, some of the visuals are
that's true.
Just so amusing.
That is true.
I suppose if I was watching something in rerun, and that's one thing I did with some of the other shows is I've already seen this show, but it's a fun show, so I'll put that on in the background and listen to a rerun. And those are fun to do.
Yeah.
G2 Part 10. G2.
iPod on random. That's a good.
Which one?
Good idea. Japanese Sandman has his iPod on random when he's doing model kits.
Yeah.
Hexbag91 says that he normally does some game console modification as opposed to model kit building.
Oh, wow.
And but he does it outside so we can hear the birds. That's
nice.
I like that.
I wish we could do that today, but I think sounds like a Gundam battle
Not so
out
much,
there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I am on to the next page. It says a sticker is supposed to go on, but I have no idea where, and it's not labeled, so I'm going to ignore that.
Uh-oh, I think I missed a sticker somewhere. Oh, no, I can go back.
Okay, yeah. Most of the stickers are designed so you can put them on later. In case. A17. Whew.
I almost have one frame completely empty.
Nice.
One more piece. It's always a good sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I get something built, I have a little bit of feeling of, it's over.
Yeah. A little postpartum depression there.
Yeah. My baby. I'm going to have to build another.
Exactly.
It's going to need a brother.
Yeah, and that's where it gets fun. You can start doing some dioramas. Really doing some fun stuff there. What is the blade? There we go.
No. Let's see. Part number 15. 14. 5, 4.
Enjoy Mad Max. Japanese
Max.
Sandman. I love that movie.
This
love. Who's that? Another quick tip: if you are looking at a piece and you're not sure if what you have is a stud that should come off, or see that right there, I'm not sure if that is a stud. I'm not sure if that is a stud that should come off there, or if it is a bit of the sprue. Go back and look at its mate on the kit. So this came from here. I'm sorry, over here, and sure enough, it came from right there. So
there's a similar mirror image one.
Yeah, most of these will have a mirror image one. So I can see that that connected right there, so that needs to come off. So if you're ever in doubt, you can usually find a corresponding piece and use that as your basis. Sand a bit more of that on. The first model kit I built was actually a friend's model kit, strangely enough. I think either I bought it for him or he bought it, and he said he just didn't want to build it. And so he said he'd just give it to me. And I said, yeah. And I'd never done one of these before. So I said, okay, I'll give it a whirl. And so I just popped it open and started building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. Still have it around somewhere. That was a Wing Gundam model kit. It's going to be a fun drive home.
Have I got this on the right side? Nope.
Get this
Nope.
off.
Redo.
Yep. Another great thing about having a non-gluing model. Always pop it off and start again. And yes, I've had cases where I get 3/4 of the way through a model, realize I have to pop off
everything all the way back to step 5.
Yep. All right. And so now we are putting this middle frame with a 17 like that. Up there. Wow. And then this there. Good. Good. Whew. Then part 14. Ah. It's all coming together.
I do like the snap togethers a little bit better because I don't have to worry about the messiness of the glue.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a little tricky when you get that stuff on. It since it dissolves the plastic to a small degree. If you get a little dribble of it somewhere and you don't realize it, next thing you know, you've touched 3 or 4 parts and they're starting to lose their structure.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice not to have that problem with the snap. And the cleanup and the smell is always a factor too.
True. But that can be so fun.
Yeah.
What are you been doing? I've been doing models. It was so much fun. The Dark Devil, your first was an HG00 Quanta. Nice. From Gundam 00, I'm sure. I forget what the Quanta looks like. I'm going to look that up.
So this will be my first Gundam.
Yeah.
Not my first model, but my first Gundam.
Exactly. What was your first model?
You know, I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
For years, they used to have little model kits that were snap-togethers. They weren't as refined as this, of all sorts of different things, airplanes, cars, different toys. So I'm not sure what my first one was. It was so many years ago.
Yep. There, and this goes here, there, and then an E12, there's an E12. Yeah, the level of detail in these, and I love how you get, all the little markings in there, the little lines, just really all that detail is wonderful. Gorgeous.
And I suppose having a lot more experience under my belt would help before I started doing painting, because there's certain parts on this where if you painted it, it may not fit together as well by painting a spot that's not going to be seen or a spot that is seen. May make it a little thicker or thinner so it doesn't fit together.
True.
Do most people who paint them put them together first and then take apart the parts that they want to paint? Or
I believe, you normally you paint the parts first and then you go on from there. That does not look at all like the part I have in my hand. E12 and C26. That is E12. No, that's E13.
I did that with the decals. 15, 16. They were so close together.
It's only one off, right?
Yeah. This is a good exercise in being specific.
Yep. Paying attention. Okay, come on. Get off there. All right, I'm gonna have to
hear the sound
of sirens. Do, 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 do. It's the sound of sirens.
That would be a fun parody to make.
That would. Cop cars coming down the road. Oh no, now we'll be taken off of YouTube.
The sound of sirens.
Of course, the other nice thing is if you really screw up in a way that is just unrecoverable, a new kit's like $15.
So unlike the model that's installments.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, with installments, you could get just that one issue.
True.
Rather than the entire model. Well, hopefully rather than the entire model.
I'm going to be here for the next 2 years putting this together.
It took me this many years.
C26. Ah, ball joint. It's a good way to start model kits. Don't know where to start. Yeah, I would pick any high grade. It's a great question. Pick any high grade model that you like, that looks interesting. I don't think there's any really bad high grade model kits. I'm sure there are folks who are deep into this who will tell you, oh, this one's a little easier than that one. But in general, I think, you can just go. That goes into that somehow.
Possibly, if you're familiar with other model kits, it might help, because there is a little bit of intimidation not being able to read the Japanese.
Yeah.
If you read Japanese, go for it.
Yep.
Don't even hesitate. But if you don't, you could try some that are designed around English-speaking users, and just play around with getting familiar with models.
Yeah, true.
But getting your hands into it is the best way. Yep. Even if you break something and you think it didn't work, you can still sometimes go back and make it almost perfect.
Yeah.
I do a little bit with metal models, and quite often there's a piece that if you bend it too many times, the metal tab breaks off and you can't fasten it. But there's usually some other way around that. Another piece might hold it together or fasten to it. So don't give up if you have any failures. Just keep at it, and if you need to, use glue.
That's good advice, I think, for life in general.
Yeah. I could use more life glue. That pink stuff that plugs the holes when the air escapes.
See here, that's not fitting on well at all. Why not? What is that supposed to do?
The idea of painting in battle damage can cover up a multitude of mistakes.
It's true. It's very true.
That scratch there, that's intentional. That was battle damage.
Exactly. Oh, that's kind of nice. Okay.
I've got a set of wings.
Oh, cool. Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is so cool. They look great when they pop on.
Yeah.
All right, so that slides down. I would think that would slide down a little further, but I guess you have kind of the
G7
skeletal idea there. Oh, whoops. It's backwards. Well, that would make a difference. That off.
Model building creates some interesting scenarios. Sometimes you'll have a part that's an exact copy, and sometimes you'll have a part that's a mirror image. And that's kind of a useful concept in life, being able to understand the idea of chirality. They use this term in chemistry when they describe a molecule, and it's, even though your left hand and right hand are similar, they're not the same, because if you place them on top of each other, they don't match up exactly. But they're a mirror image of each other, so they do match up, but only as a mirror image, not as a duplicate.
Right.
So that left-right is sort of distinguishes the way that they are. So they have a levo and a dextro form of describing this molecule is the same as the other, except it curves to the right, or this curves to the left. And realizing that there's that kind of distinction, they came out with using the terms of chirality to describe the same but different.
Gotcha. Yeah. And what were those terms? Levo and...
Well, levo is left and dextro is right. Sort of like left for levo and dexter like dexterous. Dexter is right. So somebody who's skilled with both right hand and left hand is ambidextrous. Meaning both right hand, which is kind of a silly, it's a very biased way of describing it, but because the majority of people are right-handed, saying somebody has two right hands means that they can use them both with that dexterity. So it's kind of interesting idea that there could even be a third form of a molecule's adjustment.
Yeah. Wow.
Since most of our universe is left and right, not too many people have played around with the idea of a third.
Yeah. Remember when in the Larry Niven series, The Mote in God's Eye, when they had the idea of the motes who are non-symmetrical in body shape. So they have one large arm on the right side and two smaller arms on the left side, and other things like that just makes them different, which led to a thing which then or a saying which then got picked up by science fiction fandom in general. So if you hear this, you'll know now where it's from. People would say, on the one hand, on the other hand, on the gripping hand.
On the gripping hand. On the one hand, the other hand, the gripping hand. Oh, I gotta listen for that, because that could pass over a person's head without them knowing if they weren't familiar with that. On the one hand, on the other hand, on the gripping hand.
All right, now I have my...
I'm gonna chuckle next time somebody says, "Get a grip."
All right, I have got a leg. Whoa, there's a...
Got a leg up on the situation.
Exactly. Here. Very detailed. My gosh.
Wow.
Never ceases to amaze me how much they put into these things. Even with little booster rockets on the bottom of the thing. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's true. So the next step beyond painting is building your own by kit bashing together different
kit bashing.
Cool.
I had an interesting experience as a kid where my family was going around shopping for a new house. And we went to somebody's place where they had an extra shed on their property. But it was a little bit larger than a shed. It was like an additional garage.
Oh, wow.
But the person who lived there was the most into modeling I've ever seen anybody in my life.
Wow.
And when we went into the shed, it was wall to wall with model kits, different spray painted levels of work, and it was almost all of it was kit bashing.
Wow.
This person must have purchased every model known to man several times over.
Yeah.
And you could just see the creative juices that they had from mixing and matching things, designing their own cars and battleships and airplanes. Of course, that predates Gundam. I'm old. No. But I always wonder what that person's life must have been like, because I didn't actually see that person, but I saw their workshop, and it was just a phenomenal experience.
Yo, I can imagine. Gosh, that's amazing. That fit in there, and that fit in there. Is that how that works?
B4, another B4. I have a bunch of B4s here waiting to become.
Yeah. And of course, one of the nice things is that once you get rolling on, once you do leg one, then leg two gets a little easier, because you remember, oh, that's right.
I did this just now in the reverse.
Yes, in fact, here's the piece I just popped off. A16. No, that's a different one. There it is.
Check and double check.
Check and double check. Trust but verify. Yeah, there's some amazing things. If you guys check out the, I think it's called the Gundam World Tournament, where people will, where Bandai actually has folks submit their Gundams, their model kits for judging, and yeah, and you see that their creativity there. It's just absolutely stunning. Some of the stuff folks are coming up with. That's what we were looking at the other day. That little video of
some incredible
creativity,
craft work.
16 and 11. 11 there. Yeah, kit bashing, of course, starting with the first Star Wars movie, when they were having to build all of these models, all these, well, literally models of Star Destroyers and such. And so they just go to the model kits, model hobby stores, and buy a shelf of those. I was listening to Adam Savage talk about that, and he said the funny thing is now they will, like they've parted out all of those things. So they will tell you that, this thingamabob on the Star Destroyer is this fender from a Shelby model kit that you have to go and buy, and this is this thing from this bit. So they know where it all comes from now.
I've got to go back and frame by frame check through some of their models. Yeah. Oh, I know what that is.
I'm sure it would be clear.
It's funny, powering up the folks who are involved in television will recognize when they're powering up to destroy. Suddenly now all my brain has escaped me. When they're getting ready to fire up the beam to destroy the planet, they use a Grass Valley switcher to fade up. And nice. Now you go back and you look at it and like, that's a TV workstation. That's awesome. A TV switcher that they're using to destroy a planet.
That's great. I never thought about that. Of course, those are all.
Most people weren't familiar with it at the time. Right. Just a few who are in the industry, and so the vast majority of people are going, "Oh, look at all the blinky lights! Look at all the flashing things."
Well, I always wondered, how do they get all of these panels of buttons and lights and so forth? No, of course, they're mixers.
Oh, that's a broadcast mixer there.
That's Skywalker sound right there. That's funny.
So when they fade up from, they're fading that planet out of existence. What's even funnier is going back to really old sci-fi shows and looking at all the stuff that makes up a mad scientist laboratory. The plasma balls, the Tesla coils, the things with the electricity that run up them that you can make now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at some of that up the other day. We can actually build what is that called? The
one with the rods.
The wires that go up and the electricity goes up.
I can't remember the ladder. Jacob's ladder.
Jacob's ladder. That's it. Thank you.
Those things are incredible.
Yeah, you can make those at home now.
And of course, there's all sorts of cautions. Yes. There's some great YouTube videos, but always be careful first. Safety first.
Yes. To quote Doctor Who, be safe if you can, but always be incredible.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. It's always dangerous to say things like this on air, but I think it would be awesome to do every couple of weeks just a weird science project. Just build it.
Oh, that would be fun.
Put it on YouTube. We were looking at a thing just today actually about making a bow out of PVC pipe.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. I came across a neat thing about using. We have those lights there. What do? They put those lights in.
Oh, strip LEDs.
Yeah, strip LEDs in balls of cotton. And then they wire it up. Oh, they got some that you can wire it up to like an Arduino to change the colors.
Ooh.
So you literally just hang it from somewhere, and it's this constant color changing thing. And because it's all wound inside the cotton, it's this very vague color changing thing. It's really neat.
That is
and it's very cheap. So I'll have to find that out. Find that one.
So much has happened over the past few years. It used to be very simple things. Were there's so much complexity these days that can be built into something. Starting with a very simple and moving up. Before it, there was a threshold because of the internet and people's access to different inexpensive resources.
Yeah.
And now, what used to be, okay, string some Christmas lights around your ceiling, you can take LEDs, you can flash them, you can change colors, you can do all sorts of light shows.
Yeah.
And it's not that expensive anymore.
No. Yeah, and some of the programmable hardware where they've now got, what is it, the little bits, where they're literally snapped together, you know, motors and lights and sensors, and you just clip them together magnetically and you have a circuit. Nice. Wow, that's pretty awesome. And remember folks talking about how amazing it is that, you know, now with the cell phone, the development of the cell phone has now made so many things so much cheaper, where now you can get, like I said, the Oculus Rift runs off of cell phone screens. And there are all sorts of things happening with developing nations where they can now get access to a lot of things more cheaply because people now know how to make 1 billion of these things for $5 each. So there's all sorts of improvements to our world just driven by you know, the previous step in sort of electronic evolution, if you will. It is amazing. All right, so there's that thing. And now we go to the next bit, A14.
I see that attaching. I don't see where it attaches to.
The Gundam Guy blog. I'll have to check that out.
That sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, it shows some amazing kit bashing, they say. I can only imagine. Let's see here. You know, if I'd thought it through, I would have downloaded that video of all of those model kits and then played it back at slow speed.
Maybe we can do that in post.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So where am I? A14. Ah, down there. A14. A15. Well, that's convenient. It's right next to it. A15. You got to feel bad for the guys where, you know, all of these designs start as some mecha designer scribbling around on paper and saying, it'd be cool if that's flared and if that fits into there and all this kind of stuff. And they don't have to worry about animating it. They don't have to worry about making the model kits. They're just making these cool drawings.
Just the drawing itself, yeah.
And then somebody comes along and says, well, how is that going to actually work?
Now, not only does it need to do that, but it's got to also, yeah, a lot of goes into design.
Yeah, on that video they were showing how they have that awesome cutaway of the model kit in CAD, so that they can actually assemble it in there and then just sort of slide through it and do you know, cut it at any point and be able to see inside where all the different pieces fit together. It's amazing.
The CAD designs, the work they must go through to be able to make these is,
oh man.
It's one thing to put one together that's already been made, to make one from scratch, from CAD, and make sure that all the pieces fit and work. And
yeah, and of course now they want to make them all as modular as possible, so that kit bashing is easier.
That is going to be quite a task. But if they can do it,
hey, more power to them. And that's there. I'm
seeing them indicating something, but I'm not seeing how I'm supposed to do it.
What's that?
This goes into there.
Okay.
But there's this little note in Japanese.
Leading
up into that.
It means that this piece is that piece.
Okay.
So
that's
it's just
easy. It's this part to that part.
Yeah, it should be. But is there a little spot for the stud? I don't see the.
Maybe I missed a step somewhere.
Yeah, it's certainly implying that there's some backing to that. Oops, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Well, when all else fails, follow the instructions.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's this. There's
this. I see a back plate there. B9?
B9. So I must have missed the step.
Is B9 still on
it's B9.
B9.
B9. Well, there it is.
Oh. Easily solved.
It's great having a second set of eyes.
And I just want a second brain. Yeah, the this year's Gundam modeling championship stuff was just incredible. The dioramas folks put together, it's crazy. So that's that. Is it? Is it? Where is my? What am I looking at? That's that. That's. What do I got? Ah.
Wow, you're so far on yours. Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
You get used to it. So I think that fits there. Yeah. I may end up getting another model kit at this point.
Yeah.
And this fits. Ah, that's right. So this fits down in here like that. I'm assuming. Must. Get in there. Don't break. There we are. Yeah. Sometimes these things require a little bit of pushing.
A little bit of encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you're gonna go there.
You may not think it, but it's gonna happen. Yeah. C was it 20? C4. Oh no.
C4.
It just pops right off. Always fun when one just pops right off. There's nothing on it. It looks like it was designed right out of the factory to just fly into your hand.
Off.
Mm.
Oh, that makes it so much easier. Yeah, missing a step sure
good.
makes a difference.
E9. It also goes a little faster as you go through because there's fewer stuff on the plates.
It's a quicker find.
Yeah.
I've already got one plate empty.
Yay. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, I might move on to a bigger kit next time.
Bigger in which direction?
All directions.
All directions.
Yes.
Larger scale.
Yeah, I'm
more
forgetting,
parts.
I think it's master grade that is next highest up, and then perfect grade I think is the biggest.
Perfect grade. And then there's the we need a motor to drive this 3 steps.
Yeah. Well, there's this one. Let's see here.
Voila. B24. B24.
Yeah, if you wanted a big, oh come on, Jack. Don't be like that.
B24 is a very small piece. You have to be careful not to knock those off. Those are supposed to be there.
So how's that for a model kit?
That woman's is wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
That'd be a nice addition to a room, wouldn't it?
I'd post 2 as sentries outside my door.
Exactly.
That's what we got outside our studio. They're watching guard right now.
Yeah.
That would be fun to put some sensors, something that large you could put sensors in.
Totally.
As somebody walked by, it could say something, say a phrase, and articulate an arm.
That would be awesome.
State your name.
Yep.
State your name for entry. That is cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think very many were made. It was more of a thing. Real grade. That's right.
How long before you think Gundam or Gundam-like models will be available for people with 3D printers?
Oh, so that's a very good question. We're a little ways off because the amount of detail you need to make all this fit together so well is just not there on desktop 3D printers.
What about larger scale? If you go with a larger scale, the resolution of detail might be a little bit coarse, but with a larger scale, the coarseness wouldn't be as much of an issue.
Yeah, that would certainly help. So I've tried printing replacement parts for Gundam model kits.
So you have a 3D printer.
I have
Tell
a
me
3D
about
printer,
that.
correct.
A 3D printer.
So I actually have 3 of them.
Three 3D printers.
Why not?
Well,
With a 4th
how
on the
many
way.
Ds would that make it?
Yeah, I make it 3Ds. Imagine that.
3D printers. So that's a 9D. So
9D.
you can go multi-dimensional.
Exactly. Because if you're gonna go big. So yeah, so I've tried printing, and again, the level of detail is really, really difficult to get at this scale. You can certainly print non-articulated models at this scale, where it's just basically one big hunk of plastic. I'm currently working on a print of that, actually, but it gets a little tricky sometimes. That goes in like that. Aha. So yeah, so it's a matter of quality. I also suspect that the desktop 3D printing technologies are in for a significant change in the next couple of years.
Oh.
There's laser sintering.
Laser sintering. Sintering?
Laser sintering.
Sintering. So using a laser to combine.
Correct. And so basically you have a liquid solution and you hit it with a laser. And what it lets you do in particular is not only does it give you potentially more quality, you fuse an entire layer at once. So instead of drooling out plastic, it's just zzzt, and you've got one layer done.
Wow.
So that they're claiming anywhere from 1 to 2 magnitudes of speed improvement.
Is that going to, my goodness?
Yeah.
That sounds revolutionary.
It would be. So folks are trying to get that to.
So is that in a fluid solution, and as the laser hits a layer, it changes state?
And so the way I've typically seen it is that the build platform is upside down. So you take.
This is interesting.
Cool.
You have all this.
Interesting. Yeah.
Let's see. All this is one form, and then this is another.
Yeah.
All within, and now as I'm looking at it,
oh yeah, and those
this
are
whole
darker.
side is black.
That's cool.
And this is gray. They've gone to a lot of effort to make those.
Yeah.
Not only one frame, but 2 different materials, 3 different materials here.
Wonder how they do that. Because you'd have to wait for one of it to harden. Well, then
that's probably what they do. They do section at a time,
and it must harden so incredibly quickly.
And this has. So they probably do one mold, then send it to the next one, which fills in the gaps between them, because it looks like where they join together. There's just a little post hole where it changes color.
Look at that. Fascinating.
Here you see the post holes that change color. Different materials within the same frame.
That is amazing.
That is amazing. But laser sounds even more phenomenal.
Well, and like there's the resin printers now, which print in actual resin. They also use a laser, and you have a vat of resin, and you zap that, and that's slower because the laser actually has to travel in a path. It's about the same speed as current desktop plastic printers, but you get much higher detail. Because again, instead of extruding plastic from a nozzle, you're zapping resin with a laser, so you get much more detail.
With the laser sintering, is that going to be a higher still?
It should be, as I understand it.
Resolution?
Yeah, it should be quite a bit nicer. Did I miss a foot? I think I missed a foot.
I missed by a mile once.
Oh, they wanted you to do that twice. Okay. So, yeah, so you see here, it says 13 times 2.
Oh, times 2.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Got to keep my eye out for those times 2.
Yeah. So, fortunately, it's fairly obvious because it's the feet. And it's kind of obvious what feet look like.
You've already got a model of one.
I have not seen the full-size 3D printed R2-D2. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I saw part of that. I didn't get to check it out in detail.
Nice.
And at some point, that would be a fun one to take a look at.
Yeah. So what did you see?
Just that somebody had done it. Someone had a post of it, and of course, I was at work, so I couldn't really linger on it. It was back to work. But I thought, oh, I got to show this to you.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So this person's had a chance to see it then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Hexbag, what did you think of it? Did it look like a reasonable R2D2?
I would suppose with a larger scale,
yeah,
some of the finer details, it's a little bit easier to have. When you do a larger scale, the resolution is not as much of an issue.
And I'm betting he has access to some kind of industrial scale 3D printer, because that would just take forever.
A lot of small parts.
Yeah.
Now I've seen someone has done 3D printing with a cement mixture.
Oh yes, yeah.
And the idea of being able to take that and set down a physical structure, depending on the setting speed of the cement mixture, that could be a formidable way of sending in the robots to rebuild the town when there's a disaster, or set up somebody on Mars to at least have a physical structure, maybe a landing pad or something of that nature, without necessarily having to be there.
Well, and that's the other thing too.
Or ship materials
is also the ability to respond to things, where you can send something up there and say, okay, start printing, and then you realize, oh, hold on, stop. We have something else we want to do here because we've realized something about the topography, and so you can kind of change that as you go. That has quite some potential. The nice thing about 3D printing is it's like, okay, this is open to interpretation as long as you kind of know what you're doing. That goes like that. Yeah, come on, sticker. Be nice.
The stickers, sometimes I find if I can get them on the tip of another blade, I can position them easier, like the edge of the screwdriver. I can use that as a tool for applying one corner and then pressing it around. Of course, now I'm saying that I have the most smallest little sticker.
C24.
The eyes.
The eyes. Oh boy. Oh yeah. I always have difficulty with the eyes.
The eyes have it. I may have to get some batteries for the lamp on this.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Want to swap out with this one for now?
I think I can get some light on here. Okay. We've got some light going through there. Next time around, I'll.
Ooh. What is that? Oh.
Incoming weather alert.
Flood warning until midnight. Avoid flood areas. Check local media. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really have anything too close.
Not in a flood zone yet?
Yeah, no. There is a stream near where I live, but it would take quite a lot to make that be dangerous. You never know. So that was that PC6. It interrupted me in the middle of my model kit. Imagine that.
Where was I?
How dare they? There it is. But it is nice that they're letting folks know, about dangers. C1. Always good to be better. All right, thanks, Doug.
Better informed?
Yeah, better informed. Wow, makes all the sounds, lots of other functions. Looks fantastic. Cool. The R2D2. That's amazing. That goes in the side. Fits in right there. Is that right? Snug. Very snug. But should fit. There we are. And then that goes in the top. All right. All right, I've got my legs. Now for the crotchal region. Hey.
Yeah.
A7.
Starting to get the eyes in there.
Yeah. Yeah, 3D printing is just amazing what folks can do. Actually, the R2-D2s are amazing too.
I imagine when you create something like that yourself, you can also build in space for electronics.
True.
Maybe put in sensors.
Yeah.
And lights and motors.
Yeah.
And mess with people. Have it follow around.
Exactly. Well, and certainly you'll want to have motors so it can move around. So you'll have that kind of stuff. I was watching a video about that, and there are build groups for building R2-D2s.
Wow.
And folks will share information on how to do it. It's one of the problems with trying to replicate a movie prop, if you will, is that often there were multiple versions of that thing. So it's kind of which R2-D2 are you doing?
That can get tricky.
Yeah.
And then a mashup of
yeah. And they had that problem with Han Solo's blaster. There are several different versions of Han Solo's blaster depending on which scene you're looking at in the film. The films, I should say. So there is no singular.
I wonder, was that from the different films or different
within the same film?
Within the same film,
yeah.
An oversight in continuity.
Yep. No one is paying that much attention.
Us in the U.S. are pretty hung up on continuity. It's funny how people will approach creators of different media and point out issues of continuity that were mere oversights. What did you mean by this? No, there was no meaning. We just.
But I noticed that in scene 12, it actually fits with this.
Because we don't have a staff of 80 million people, we have a deadline to release at some point. But even with a lot of people, sometimes continuity is a matter of perspective. Wait, from this angle, the car accident looked like this person was at fault at that angle.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's always a tricky struggle.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there's only so much you can do. I remember when they were working on one of the Star Wars prequel movies, when you see Anakin and Padme in their sort of lovers area, their lovers villa, and they walk outside and talk there, and it had rained the night before. And it hadn't rained in the movie, but everything was the floor was wet. And so someone said, okay, you got to find someone with towels and so forth. And George Lucas said, no, it's okay. Just shoot the scene.
Just shoot.
And they said, why? He said, if anyone watching this scene is paying attention to the floor, we've got a problem.
They're not paying attention to the right part. Make sure they focus on the right part, and we'll be okay.
I said no one's going to notice that, and if they do, well then okay, it rained the night before. In continuity, that's fine. Stop worrying about it, basically, which was a
if a person stopped for every detail, sometimes features would not be created just because there's so many unexpected events that may cause a disruption.
Exactly. G1. What's G1?
One trick that they do to make things look neat is sometimes they'll wet down streets intentionally. Oh. And it gives this old gray tarmac sort of a darker black finish, and it looks nice.
Cool.
So sometimes I'll see that in a movie and I'll say, "Oh, that's definitely a wet street." It gives it that fresh tarmac look, freshly paved, everything's new, and learning about these tricks, it's fun to look at them in a movie. But I found if you're watching something with somebody for the first time, don't point that out.
Yeah, no.
Let them enjoy the illusion. And then when you watch it in reruns, point it out and say, "Hey, did you notice this?" Because there's nothing worse than somebody who's watching something for the first time. You're watching it for the first time, and somebody's just ruining the fantasy of the fantasy film.
Totally.
It's like, oh no, I know, no. Spoilers.
Yeah.
However, there are certain things that are fun to be aware of before you go into it.
Totally. It's actually a good thing for the Star Wars movies, the new Star Wars sequels. Like, I'm not learning lots of stuff about the behind the scenes and who's what. I want to go into those movies without knowing it.
Yeah.
And just experience and enjoy that story fresh. I think it's going to be a lot more fun than the alternative.
That's one thing where there are a lot of movies out there that I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to read any critics of them. And so when I go to get them, I can't sometimes avoid commentary on it. So I'll put it into my list of movies to see, and I'll look at it at a later time. So I've already forgotten what all the critics have said.
Nice.
And that way I can approach it fresh. Occasionally I'll remember one critic saying something, and it won't be as big an impact of me going into the movie with a negative attitude because all the criticism was negative. And I can give it a more objective, my own personal opinion of it rather than
that's smart.
Repeating what other critics have already said.
Well, exactly. And it's one of the reasons why on my channel I try to do kind of non-spoiler reviews that are just, here's what's in it.
Yeah.
That way you don't really have to,
make up your own opinion.
Exactly.
Here's what it's about, general.
Yep. And
if you're, and that was something else that was fun because some people like a particular genre and some people don't. And I found that people who don't like a particular genre will give it a worse rating than those who do. I like sci-fi and time travel and aliens and
espers.
Espers. You knew I was going there. And so because I do, I can enjoy that kind of film even when certain aspects of it are not up to Hollywood code for the formula.
Yeah.
Where folks who are not particularly enthralled with that genre will not give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's like the problem we have with anime, where folks will walk in and try to understand anime from, episode scene 6, episode 9 of Yamada's First Time.
They're jumping in.
It's like
background.
No. It's always tough. Okay, so we're getting some of those epaulettes on there, the sort of side panels.
B-23.
So Gundams are designed to look like samurai armor. Not exactly, but there's definitely a samurai armor feeling to the Gundams. It's why you see those little, little bits and bobs on top of their heads. Those are like the samurai helmets.
Yeah.
So let's see here. This goes like that.
Were those things functional or to intimidate? Or
I think they were a bit of both.
I suppose if it does intimidate, then it has proved its function.
True. Yeah, I think in general. Oh, cool! Wow. What's that? Cool. I get beam sabers. That actually detach. That's amazing. Well, that's right, because I had the little beams. It's right, because here we go. And there's a little beam saber.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So let me get the hilts.
Wow.
So yeah. So the so the helmets themselves were pretty functional, but the bits and bobs were more to intimidate.
Let's see. Oh, I've got an exclamation point.
Oh,
I better pay attention. Number 2. Oh, wow. That's really tiny. That's tinier than the eye.
Might be one of those things where
put this on first and then put it together.
Yeah. Or I've occasionally done things where I'm like, that one's not going on. That's the one that I'm just not going to get a sticker there.
That one's just not going to
work. Wouldn't be prudent out of this juncture.
Oh, wow. It goes up underneath, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's why it's kind of tricky. I think so. It looks like the only spot it's going upward like that. And the underneath is there.
Yeah.
Time to look at the box and see
if... Holy smokes.
Maybe some more pictures.
Yeah. It goes on B23. Wow. That's kind of nuts. E4. Yeah.
It's always nice having the pictures to refer to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so this, my beam saber. It goes like that. Wish I could get that. Okay, I need.
Oh wow! At this point, maybe an X-Acto knife. Oh yeah. Wow, that's a tiny.
Holy smokes, that's insane. Wow.
We have a saying small as an at's ass.
Yeah.
That's pretty small.
That is pretty small. Wow. Oh yeah, there's a little beam light thing and it's in there. Wow. Yep. That's crazy. Crazy cool.
Their attention to detail there is incredible.
Yep. Okay, so there. Yep, sure enough, there's the beam sabers, and I guess they do. Wow.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah. So they clip to the side. And pop them off.
Nice.
I'm unreasonably happy with that. Just a neat detail.
I'm gonna set that there. Sharps. Okay. This goes on.
So yeah, I've always wanted to make a Gundam series. That'd be fun. Exhausting, but fun.
Yeah.
I guess I want to write one more than I want to conceptualize one. I don't know that I want to be in the production.
Does Gundam have fan fiction?
Oh yeah, plenty of that.
Plenty of that.
It's not a bad idea. Where's oh, because it's on the other one.
Wow.
Ah.
Definitely good to follow the instructions. Exclamation point. That must mean something.
Yeah. Wow.
G1. Oh, G.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't there an E3 that just occurred recently?
That's true. The Electronics Entertainment Expo, I think.
That sounds like it would be a fun one to go to.
Yeah, all those video gamers doing their video game stuff. Oh wow, okay. So they want me to actually pop it on there.
Pop it on.
PC4 and A12. PC G4.
G1 1, G1 3. G1 3
is A12. A12. I think I see A12. A little bit of a torso bit in the middle. I don't know, I think designing these things would be kind of like being somebody who designs Lego kits.
Oh.
That seems like it would be a lot of fun. I wonder how you get that job.
Yeah.
You must defeat the previous one in Mortal Kombat. Oh, that's cool. So this has this ball and socket joint here, obviously, but they actually give it an extra ball and socket joint. So I'm going to pop this guy on.
They've got an extra
here. Yeah, so there's a second.
Oh, for more articulation.
Yeah, more articulation. So I should be able to pop that on here. I'm going to pull that off so I don't break it. There we go. And then that goes on like that. Yeah, so you can do some actual, some pivoting forwards and backwards and left and right. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, this design is a little sleeker and slimmer than a lot of other Gundams and mobile suits. Okay, and then what am I screwing onto his crotch there?
Reminds me of Red Dwarf.
Oh yes, Red Dwarf. That's interesting. Oh, okay, yeah. There's if I may be indelicate for a minute, there is indeed a hole right down there, and that is for a putting on a base. So if you want him to be flying, you can just sort of insert it right there, and then he's flying. So cool. It's kind of letting you know that they included a spot just for that.
It's really coming together. Yeah, it's taking shape.
Taking shape. Now, of course, I've got about 1 billion wings to put on this thing, so that's going to take a little while. Oh, your torso is really looking awesome.
It's
nice.
It's coming together slow and steady.
Oh, the clear plastic. That's great. All the detail. Awesome. All right. Moving on to C42. C42. What is that? Oh, connecting it with C41, I guess. Oh, guns. Moving on to the guns.
Guns. That folds down.
The Build Strike Gundam, based on the Strike Gundam from Gundam Seed. It was a controversial series over in America.
Oh, why was that?
Versus that. Well, I guess controversial is a poor choice of words. Not very well liked in America versus over in Japan. Oh, I've got a similar exclamation point. C34. Folks just really didn't like it.
Just wasn't received well?
Wasn't received well. And I never could quite understand why folks were so annoyed by it. They didn't like some of the characterizations and such. But I thought it was, not that much better or worse than anything else. Wow. Okay. So we've got a little thing that goes. Okay. Wow. I'm going to have to clip the barrel on like that. Yeah. Okay. And then C36 and C37 do something. C36. Oh, okay. Different weapons. All right. It's starting to make sense now. There are multiple different weapons that I'm putting together.
Oh, wow.
And
that could make it tricky.
Yeah. Because he has sort of a little pistol and other things. So these just pop together. C36, C37, and then C38 goes on the front of that. C38, which is a little barrel thing. That's going to go like this. Yeah, come on. I said, there we are.
Let's see.
Okay. And then C39 and C40. I forgot how many guns he has.
Multiple steps.
Mm.
So it looks like that.
Ah, the head.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tricky.
Tricksy, they tricks us.
They tricks us.
What have I got in my pocket?
My pockets is.
Tricksy hobbitses.
Angled backwards.
Right, so that pops on there. Of course, where I'm going to keep all of these little guns, I have no idea. And then C33. That's the other problem with this, is it's like, all right, now I've got to find a spot to keep them.
So, display cases?
Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. Not to mention just, okay, you know, you can display the model kit, but then also, what about the 3 guns it comes with? What about the extra shield? All that stuff that you may or may not want to have with that.
Use it for your next mashup.
True.
Yeah.
Good point. And then C35 is a little handle thing. C35. Let's see here. Nice. So there's a little. See, it comes with a little handle on the side. You can grasp onto that while you fire it. Neat. All right, and now we move on to shieldy things, I think. E3. Speaking of E3. Yeah, there's a lot of potential. So I think, you know, once 3D printing gets to that point where the quality is much higher for desktop 3D printers, it's going to be kind of hard for companies like Bandai to compete with hordes of individuals who will just design these for free and release the files on the internet.
Sort of like the way that things went with media, music and movies.
Exactly. It's like when the real world becomes, to an extent, replicatable.
Everything becomes slippery.
Yep. For content creators. So we'll have to figure out something. B2. And that finishes out that one. All little guns fit together into a big gun. Actually, do they?
Oh, do they? Cool.
Nope, they don't. Nope. No. Yeah, no, just Sei's design for this is similar to the Gundam Seed design, which is just a lot of guns firing off at once. It's just a fun sort of concept, but it's just it's a very flashy design. It also lets you have weapons that once they run out of ammo, as we mentioned, you throw aside and pick up the next one. Okay. So that goes into the box. And I think, in fact, nope, still got a bit more in that one. I think E's done. Yes, E's done. And PC is done.
Wow.
And
got to a tricky part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Put those little horns on?
Yeah.
D. Where's D? D. G1. F. C. Hello. That may have had me a little worried.
Oh, there's a frame that.
Oh.
The box.
Thank you. D1. What do you know? That solves that problem.
So
one splash of yellow.
2, 3. So 1. Put this on. 1 and 2. Put it in there, and then
3 the stickers. Let's see here.
The coordination test.
Yeah. 4, 5, 2, and 3. 2. Interesting.
I think I got it there. Let's see. Yeah, there we go.
Nice. Wow.
That took a little bit of work. How satisfying it is that I didn't give up. So,
that's great.
Yeah. Now to do Yamato. Now I wonder if that's snapped together, if that's glue.
Which?
The Yamato.
Oh yeah. That's probably. Well, I don't know.
Are most kits?
That's a good question. I really only know about Gundam model kits in terms of Japanese kits.
Because they are Bandai, I think.
Yeah, it might be snapped together.
That would be neat.
Yeah.
I may have to do 2. One just to get the feel for it, and then paint it with the after watching the series.
Exactly. Well, you've seen Yamato.
I've seen it, but a long time ago.
Same here.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's a whole franchise.
That's not even true. I've only seen a few episodes.
A few episodes. Yeah, I have to admit. So G is completely completed.
Nice. Congrats.
Progress. It's interesting that the joints have a very different feel in the plastic. It's
it's a different material, like a PVC softer, kind of a thing. Interesting. Yeah. I think that is PVC actually. So this just fits together, and then something happens.
C9.
Oh.
There's a lot of C9s. Do this twice, okay? C9.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
PC7.
There's a little gun thing there. And here's how to actually do this. Wow, that's crazy. So, not only does it stick out, it's hinged. So it goes in and out.
Nice.
That's pretty impressive. All right, so we know that should fit in there. In fact, let's do a little posing here.
PC9, 9, C8. C8. So those will be the 9s, and this will be... It doesn't seem right. C8, C9, C8.
It's going to be impossible to see. But
I hate to get ahead of myself and pull off too many pieces.
Beware, Evan.
Ah!
Cool. I love that they actually have illustrations showing the guns going to their hands, saying, "This is where the gun goes, into the hand." I think I can figure that one out. Not in the feet? Really? You sure? Okay.
Oh, C8s are bigger.
And then the beam saber. And then the C32. So there's a little clip for that.
Oh, I see why those are. Oh, no. I've taken off pieces prematurely.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are. I see on this it says PC, and then it says C, and it says A, all within the same board.
Oh, wow.
So
PC.
Here's A.
Oh, wow.
Here's
Yeah.
C. And here's PC.
Oh, yeah, so it's PCC8. Wow.
Yeah, that was tricky.
Yeah.
I was wondering why it said PC7 and C8, C9.
Yeah.
Those are different Cs. Sailing the 7 Cs.
So that doesn't make sense.
At first, I was looking at it going, that shape looks different. Maybe when I get them all out. No, that shape looks different.
Yeah. There we go. So that pops on there. All right. So the shield pops to the side.
Oh,
that's pretty nice.
Oh, I'm noticing something. These are both the same C frame.
Oh, interesting.
Exactly
Duplicates?
the same duplicate.
Oh, interesting.
Probably a right and a left.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. For symmetry.
For justice.
And the pursuit of enjoyable experiences.
Now, this is interesting. I'm seeing extra torso pieces on here. How is this going to work? Oh, it's the backpack. Right. So let's start on that.
Let's see. C9, C8, and PC7.
This is also not an activity to do while you're, say, eating Cheetos or buttered popcorn.
Or drinking heavily.
Yes. Oh, that can create some very amusing Gundams. Good.
I imagine it would be frustrating.
Yeah. That's a good point. There, and then G14, exclamation point. Wait, I just threw away G1.
No!
Threw
away G1?
G1. G1.
Oh, G.
4. Oh, G. G1.
Something still on G.
4. That is G1. No, it's PC.
I've used that part.
Yeah. C. G1. G1 4. Little circuit boardy thing.
Mm.
Okay. The exclamation point. Oh, that only goes in one way. And it's a little subtle. Okay, so I think I've got that.
Gotta beware those subtle differences. They can,
Yeah.
they can make a big change in everything. Why is it not fitting? Why is it not? Oh.
Okay, and then G1, 11 and 12. G1, 11 and 12.
PC7.
So these guys clip together.
So I can remember which ones are which. This is 8, and this is 9. That's a neat little cutting board there.
That is,
and it keeps me keeps me straight on my pieces.
All right, so we've got. How the heck does? Oh, okay. Do we just move it together? I guess so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a little cockpit. And then that snaps together into there. Okay. With you so far. Cool. Yep. That's in there. And then F6 and F11. Moving into the blue.
Into the blue.
F6. That's right. It has a core fighter mode. 6 and F11. 11. Yeah, Gundam is a multiverse. Never mind a universe.
The multiverse.
That's the other nice thing is that you can always find some version of Gundam that appeals to you. F6, F11. There's I think F6. There's F11. There's apparently some sticker number 11, which goes on there. 18, 7, 12, 15, 11. That's a weird one. How the heck?
How is that supposed to fit on there?
Oh, wow. All across the... Okay.
With stickers, it's interesting. I always try and look for, well, this looks like it would be across a fold somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's got to wrap around, and it's usually at a funny angle.
And that's exactly what it is.
There's no way this sticker could stick on there flat.
That's kind of crazy. So that white is all that sticker that goes on that curve.
Wraps all the way around the curve.
Yeah. Huh.
Sneaky.
Exactly. So there's that. And then we have something even more funky with G1. G1 5. G1 5.
About how many Gundam models do you suppose there are out there?
Oh gosh, hundreds.
Do they discontinue some of them?
Yeah.
Oh wow, so somebody could have a limited edition.
Indeed. I actually lucked into getting a limited edition, the Turn A Gundam, which was quite, which I think they re-released, but it's very difficult to get now. You never know. You never know. You just happened to get one that was that
Gundam connoisseur.
Yeah, cool.
The right vintage.
Exactly. Look at that. So that sticker there.
Whoa, yeah,
that's going to go on there somehow.
That's got a lot of folds on it. I can see some of them are obvious, but some of them are not.
And they've actually sort of pre-painted those lines for us, which is kind of nice. So now to figure out how all that fits on. Oh, okay. So it wraps around. Oh, Is it that way?
I'm still working on slot A, tab B.
No, not there.
Let's see,
Close.
E, 12 and 13.
And there. Little tabs on the top.
Oh, I always get excited when I see something that's one of the unusual colors.
Yeah.
Ooh, bright. Let's see. E. 13 and 12. 13 and 12. Oh, they're in matched sets.
Oh, wow. That even folds around.
It wraps all over it.
It wraps all over it.
It almost encloses the thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's even a little extra for the up there, and there's less for the parts that, so it's thinner there, so there's actually less there, but it wraps around more on the bottom. That's nuts.
They've gone to the nth degree.
All right, and then we know that fits in there. It's the only way it can fit in. That's looking pretty slick. So there's that, and then I'm presuming. Oh yeah, sure enough. Then we're gonna do the same thing. So we have F3 and F12. So same thing. Other side. F3 and F12. So Japan has become really good at making toys. They're considered one of the world leaders in making toys.
Oh.
They've been kind of ahead of the curve for decades. And the reason is World War II.
World War II.
When Japan lost World War II and America came in, one of the things they stipulated was that the Japanese would have to start making toys on the cheap for export to America. And the rates were absurdly low, and it was very difficult for those folks to make any money at it. But it was part of paying back for the war, so to speak.
Wow, rebuilding something.
Right. And the idea was, ideally that it would jumpstart the economy. And the funny thing that happened is that all the companies that got involved in that got really good at making toys. And so they started really, after a long time.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, they definitely became a powerhouse. And to the point where they put a lot of American companies out of business.
The irony.
Exactly. They just could not compete with the Japanese skill at making toys. So all those cheap tin toys of the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most of those are made in Japan.
And a lot of those are collectibles now.
Yeah.
Highly collectible.
Yeah, they had to, and it kind of, in a sense, worked out. I'm sure if you asked them at the time, they wouldn't have been quite as positive.
Not as positive, no.
Yeah. All right, so how do we do this again? That goes up here.
So positive outcome out of a not so ideal situation.
Yeah.
C12, C3 and 4. C part. C part where?
Exactly. Right, that goes back there. And there's going to attach to F4. I'm going to assume it's that big thing there. F4. Yeah, I bought this kit actually at, I think, Otakon last year. And it was a CatsCon last year, because I was with you. And I was amazed because they had one of these. The Gundam Build Fighters series had only come out recently in Japan. And they had brought 3 with them, and I bought the last one Friday afternoon. So apparently it was a pretty popular series.
Anybody out there got the other 2?
Yeah, exactly. Throw some in a bone. So that goes, so those go there, and that slots in there. Oh, so those will actually turn a little bit. And then that attaches into the core fighter bit like that. Okay. Wow. Okay, yeah, that works. And then we have a sticker for the cockpit. Oh, no, no! Ah!
Oh! Did they explode to pieces? Yep. Everything came apart there.
Yep. All right.
We can rebuild. Better, stronger, faster.
So that's there. This guy slots here. This guy slots here. This goes here. It seemed to come together so well before. Wasn't pushing it together well enough. There we are. Much better. That should slide up.
You know, it's funny as we look at some of the post-war products from Japan. They start out very shaky in quality, and then they build up to such an incredible level of quality.
Yeah,
it's the ideal. So some of the early Sony radios were kind of not exactly the highest quality manufacturing, and over the years it's been refined and refined and refined, and Sony became the powerhouse that it is. That, you know, now is sort of one of the companies that has diversified over the years beyond electronics, but is well known for its consumer electronics as well as its professional, industrial, and broadcast equipment.
Yeah, definitely true. So that should be sticking out that way, shouldn't it? No, I got it backwards. Okay, that would explain the issues. So that goes here. Helps when you know what's going on.
Helps when I have it right side up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we slide that in there.
Can that
and
even
then
go
that
there?
Still doesn't want to come up. What's the problem? Because it's upside down. Okay. I'll figure this out eventually.
It's all in the details.
Yep. So that should be like that. Yeah. And then the stud, yeah, that should be facing it that way. There we go. Now, is there a little key thing back in there? No, it looks like a stud. That's so there's the quarter mode. Yeah, it should be. Okay, I'm confused. But we'll try it the other way around.
I've noticed sometimes it's important which order things are connected together within a subsection, and sometimes it's not. And it looks like.
There we go. Okay, so that's there. Yeah, because that should do that, and that should come in and do the right in there. There. Yeah, good. All right. Now we add the sticker, which is the little cockpit thingy. Where is that little cockpit thingy? Wow. Again, very detailed sticker. Does not appear to be one single orientation. There probably is. Oh no, there is. Should have known. It's slightly thinner on one side, and that goes with the front. Okay.
It's interesting that stickers are used rather than decals. I remember using decals where you'd have to soak them in water.
Oh yeah.
And then they'd gently slide off. The good thing, though, about decals is there was a longer setting time. The bad thing about decals is there's a setting time.
Yeah.
A little water-soluble.
Yep, it's that classic trade-off. You know, do you want something that will stick forever but requires a lot more effort, or vice versa? Because I also wonder how often the mecha designer actually works with the plastic model kit makers,
the actual materials engineers.
Say, okay, how hard is this actually going to be to manufacture? That's part of your show. I mean, that's part of how you make your money.
I imagine the CEOs putting these together after they come off the assembly line. I had too much trouble. Change this, or I noticed that. And then after the first run, and then it's somebody's job to put them together.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just do a random one out of so many just to QC it.
Undoubtedly. Stickers. So that they're saying that should slide back. Holy smokes!
It did.
It transforms. So that actually slides out, and then slides down, and then can slide back in. That's pretty amazing.
That is cool.
Wow, that's
a jetpack.
My gosh. All right, it's getting close. G18.
I think he's going to get bingo before me.
Sometimes it all comes together.
So I'm wondering what will happen next episode.
Yeah, I'll be back with another model kit. You mean in Gundam?
Yes.
Okay. There I go again.
That too.
Always talking about myself. Yeah, so Char managed to kill off Garma. And
so it seems.
And we met this mysterious new Lieutenant Matilda.
Oh, she's cute.
She is.
When do we get to waltz with Matilda?
And yeah, and we got to find out also. I mean, what happens when one of the
Matilda gave me hope.
There's
somebody out there. They're actually going to get through. They actually don't need to get through because they can't do anything for them. Really, it seems like. But that's how she kind of came off, appearing that we're busy. We know about you guys. Keep doing good work. What?
Yeah.
We're loaded with civilians. Take them.
Yeah. Not so much. Well, she did take a few, but no, that's a very good point. Actually, is that she does come across as this very sympathetic character, which is nice for change.
Powerful but sympathetic.
Yeah. And they haven't had much luck with their commanding officer type figures.
Yeah, and there's.
Well, the original captain was pretty nice.
Yeah.
White base.
He was pretty bad off after that first hit though. So.
War is hell.
War is hell. So wage peace.
Exactly. Wage peace, not war. What if there were a war and no one showed up?
Oh. What series would that be?
Yeah.
Doesn't make as good a story, I suppose. But one of the downsides of turmoil is it does make a good story. Exclamation points.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Fortunately, I caught them in time. Funny looking sticker.
Ah.
Maybe. Okay, that looks like something's articulating. D1, C13, D1, 2. Step 2, 1.
Carl in the chat room is asking what other Gundam shows you've watched, Evan.
Me. This is my first. So I've seen other mecha series, but this is my first Gundam series, and so it's exciting. So far, I like it, and I'm hoping to check out the rest of the universe, multiverse, reverse, the different versions of Gundam. So I hear that there's a variety of different approaches, and so it should be interesting to see the different stylistic changes and which have their best appeal for me. I always like realistic stuff in space, but I also like fantasy in space and aliens, and who knows, maybe aliens are real, you know, realistic in space. But I'm open to suggestions, and I'm curious as to what suggestions you would have for me.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch all the series, but it seems like I'd have to take off my job and do full-time Gundam watching to be able to take up the series.
That makes sense to me.
If I could do it for a living, it would
you guys
be
may help us with that.
Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon.
No, I don't know how to type it. So there's G. Blah, 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 blah. There's that, and there's that.
Section D1,
and that fits in like that. That doesn't seem. Oh. That's seeming fit. No. There. We have.
I see a piece that I want to like take out and play with right now.
Which one is that? Yeah.
I gotta wait.
D5.
D5. That's further down. Can't get to that till I get further along.
Okay, so now we get to these weird blue page.
D1.
14.
That's not D1. D1. D1 2. Okay, D1 2. That is correct. Read the instructions. When all else fails. Yep. That's what my French teacher used to teach us. He used to say, when all else fails, students, follow the directions.
Yep. Usually all else failed because you didn't.
Yes. Instructions. Put your name on the paper. Turn it in.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a whole bunch of questions that you don't have to answer if you just follow the instructions.
Yep. I was fortunate enough to never have any professors who were that cruel. F9. F9. Not 9. Gundam 0083 was 8-Bit Champion's first Gundam. 0080 is his fave. Nice choice. Very serious. Very dark. In its own way.
I do kind of like darker series. With I like to binge watch stuff, and so one summer I sat down and watched all the what is it called? I look up here, but I don't have that here. Stargates. I watched all the Stargate series.
Wow.
Then I watched all the Stargate Atlantis series. Then I watched all the Stargate. What was the third one? I think Universe. Yeah, Universe. There was an animated series. I watched one episode and I could not watch it. It was just. But Stargate Universe was definitely the darkest of them all, just visually, and also in its feeling of hopelessness and disaster that there was no way out of.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I really liked that.
Interesting.
It was the dystopia of real life. There was less, okay, we're going to get this all resolved at the end of the episode. It's like, we might never get this resolved.
Wow.
We might always be doomed.
Nice.
Feeling that kind of pervaded through the series. And I was really sad to see the entire series end. It would have been nice to see more of that series.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel at some point after I've seen a series for so many seasons that if it's always wrapped up at the end, it almost becomes formulaic.
Yeah.
And I can tell how close to the end of the show it is by how resolved things are. And even if it's not completely resolved, I say, okay, one more episode. Okay, they've extended the joy for one more episode, but then it's going to end again. And everything's going to be wrapped up almost in a bow. And that's why some of the series kept me hanging on, but Universe was really good for that.
Interesting.
And do I thrive on hopelessness? No, but I like some of the darker scenarios because they are kind of like real life. Real life things don't always wrap up at the end of the week.
Yep.
Sometimes there's pervading issues.
Peeps.
Shall I?
Yeah. We'll see if that has any effect whatsoever.
Whoa, rubber band just died.
That's fine.
And here's this end.
Thank you.
We're just powering up right now.
Yeah. Come on. You're going that way. Oh. Nope. That's not going to work.
Is a card full?
No, it's not. It's not getting power out of that.
Oh, it's not getting power out of that.
No, and maybe this. No, it's only seeing it as USB mode. No, it doesn't seem to be getting any power out of it.
Well,
and it could be that it just doesn't charge off USB.
Or maybe if it's powered off, it charges.
Could be. Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
that's fine.
Such as back to the scenario, real world scenario. Power, more power.
Exactly. Although 80 is an ideal one for easy introduction to Gundam. Wing was my first. Being a 90s kid, Zeta and Victory is my favorite. Carl suggests 8th MS Team, 0080, 0083, Gundam Wing, and Gundam Seed.
How many series was that? That was 5 different series?
That was 5 different series, yeah.
My goodness. and that's just scratching the surface of the franchise. So there's a lot that could be done.
It sure is. Secret 14. Ooh.
You know what would be funny is if we swapped pieces and didn't realize it. Like, hey, you know.
Hey. A lot of gray in mine all of a sudden.
Which makes me think those people who do mashups must have really creative minds.
Yeah.
And must have done enough of these to really have a feel for how to improvise connections.
Or they just spray paint it all white and start from scratch.
Reboot, reset.
Okay, so that goes.
So D2, which has got an exclamation point. Okay. I like how they've done this in a universal language of pictures.
Yeah.
I think that must be part of their success is they've done such a good job of making everything so visual that even if you don't speak Japanese,
right,
or read Japanese, the speaker wouldn't be relevant. Read Japanese, you can still figure out what's going on.
Yep, and lest we forget, it's not just America; it's China and Korea and all the other countries in that area. So
they have a good export then.
They do. And if you're going to do it,
go big.
Yep. All right.
Or go small.
Or go small.
Nano. I wonder if ultra small will become more popular with nanotechnologies and refined ability to do super small work.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Optics are getting better and better all the time, and there's a huge difference between optics for standard definition cameras than there is from high definition cameras. And now they're talking about 4K and stuff beyond that. Ultra, which gets reinvented all the time. Ultra means what at what stage? But with each of these revisions, the optics have to be improved as well, because what worked for one level of information doesn't always work for the next refinement. And as the optics manufacturers are getting better and better, the ability to come out with an inexpensive consumer product such as these lenses gets better and better. And I wonder how long it'll be before we have tools that are designed around really fine detail, like watchmakers almost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So with is it?
That's thunder.
Thunder.
Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening.
Whee! I have a telescope. Galileo! Piece, piece, piece.
And sure enough, I tore out a piece that was important.
Oh, no.
Cut off a little bit there that's used. So you see this little gun type thing. The grip goes back down, but there's a little tiny little thing there,
yeah.
and that's so you can grab it and pull it up.
Oh, and if you clip it off as a piece,
as I did on this other one, where I just ripped it right off.
Yeah, so, why is that piece there?
Yeah,
that must be where I pulled it out of the frame.
Yep. Okay. Oh no, I need the other bit. So that's
see.
10. That
1 and then 2. 1 and then 2.
Okay, so there's your little gunship thingy. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. Then okay, so to put it on, that does this. That's right, he has a little backpack thing. Say, brilliant, and that slides.
That's how that works
down. Somehow. Oh, yep.
If I know that piece goes in there, I'd sand it more.
Let's plug that out of the way.
I got a tiny.
These guys.
I'm pointing it in front of them.
Sweet. And so this does this, and the backpack goes, attaches on, and then these go up, and then the guns slide up like this. So he has the extra weaponry.
What are you going to do with your Gundam?
Good question. Put it up somewhere.
I think I'm going to have mine guard my desk at work.
Yeah. This one might live here actually for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Keep some for the set. Well, maybe I'll have a different Sentinel at my desk.
And then that pops.
I'll have to see. Maybe as the series continues and we build models.
Exactly. Now, is this actually designed so he can? That will fit? It should be. It's feeling like there's not enough mobility to actually get the fists to hold it. They claim it'll work. And then, of course, these. Does that work? That goes up like this. Because that's the hero mode.
Hero!
Hero! Oh, and we can even do that. Cool.
C13. C13.
Mm-hmm. That's a rather nice style.
Wow. So balanced in everything, so you don't have to worry about him falling over. Or...
And I'm done, as it happens. Amazingly.
He's done, and I'm half begun. Wow.
So that pops in there. Ooh. A little top heavy. There we go. Why have one gun when you can have 4?
Hey. You get a backup, and a backup to your backup, and a redundant backup.
Exactly. Oh, that's a pretty nice little kit.
What? Why have one Gundam when you can have 4?
Exactly. Oh, we got to do the beam sabers too, though. I forgot about those. Oh, and these are also gummy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't chew on these at home, kids.
You're not chewing on the beam sabers at home. Yeah, you're right. He needs a flight stand. He would look awesome on a flight stand.
Flight stand.
Yeah, one of those things you put him on so he's flying.
I'm
gonna have to do that. That I might 3D print.
Hey,
that would be a good candidate for that, because I think I've seen 3D printable stands for these, and if I haven't seen them, I'll make one. That'd be a great thing to design.
That would be nice to show.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. I just got done 3D printing a car part for a client, which I'll be handing off to him later on this week. It was a 53-hour print.
53 hours.
Yeah.
That's an intense, intense print there.
Yep. And guess what happened?
Did it succeed?
Hour 52 and a half.
Oh no.
And it went off. Off. How do you put it? But it was supposed to be printing here, and it printed to one side.
Oh, it suddenly went askew.
A little bit. And it's by good quarter, half an inch. Fortunately, that is the tail end of the part. So he said that's salvageable because it does not have to attach to anything. So he's going to take it and try to put it on his car and see how it works. We also want to make sure that, of course, the car doesn't, melt the part.
Now, what kind of material did you use for that?
PLA.
PLA. So,
polylactic something or other.
Gunpla. No.
Yeah.
No, PLA.
It's a partially biodegradable thing, plastic that also has a high melting point.
Oh.
So ABS plastic melts at I think about something like 160 Celsius, and PLA is more like 200.
Oh, so it's even better than what most cars use inside there.
Yeah, but like the melting point for this part would be around that.
Now this wasn't an engine part, was it?
No. It's well. We have to show the folks here, but it's kind of hard. Oh, nice! You can get an action base for $5 online.
Oh, hey.
Ford Focus. It's an intake, actually. Let me pull that up. So that's what it looks like.
Isn't that cool, people? Wow! How did you support that? Did you do it on its side, or?
Yeah, so I made it. I put it like that. I just printed it like that. It needed a little support on the bottom because it's uneven. But I just printed.
Oh, look at that! It's got a little tilt up to the edge. So wow.
Yeah, I assume is how it connects up to the whatever it connects up to. So there's something there. But yeah, so it was this. So
and that sucks air through it.
I assume so. I don't even know where it goes. Yeah, so this was the bit at the very top that was askew. But it's just, he said it doesn't need to actually attach firmly to anything. So hopefully we can maybe even just scrape off the off bits.
Wow.
And we'll see.
A Dremel or?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
But he'll take it and we'll find out. Yeah. But it's about 10 inches. So it's like
that's pretty big piece.
Yeah.
So that's a good test for the printer doing something that's almost to the extents, right?
It does. It's almost exactly to the extents, which also makes me wonder if maybe there's something at the very edge of the
very end that might be hard to get to that maximum.
Yeah, which is not unusual in 3D printing designs. There'll be something a little off in those last couple of that last half inch because of how it has to align everything.
Another gun?
Yes.
And an extender piece on that gun?
No, this is another gun. She has a little pistol, and then he has a larger gun, and then a larger gun, and then extra guns. Yeah. Well, part of the thing is that the kid who pilots this is not a very good fighter. So he kind of overcompensates, if you will, with long range weaponry. Whereupon he comes upon a friend who's able to help him resolve that. The shield is also a gun too, actually.
Wow.
It's a little silly.
Just carrying on ammo for all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you have beam weapons. And then the backpack pops off. He said, hopefully. Backpack should pop off. It's just on there with one little connector. And come on.
It's on good.
It's on good.
He's not going to lose it in battle.
No. There's a whole laser sighting system to get it on there. Huh. I know I've got the right bit. Oh!
So I go for the bonus round. Yes.
What is that? Oh, there's the hand. That gets popped right back on.
Oh, man. The upside and the downside.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, it isn't glued, so this is what happens. So that pops it back on there. So this pops off, and so then this.
Oh, that flips up. You got the jet fighter.
Jet fighter. And then actually, you can even see how does this go?
Articulating wings.
See here, this goes like this.
Oh, they flip up. Okay, so you can do a vertical takeoff.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how it works. Yeah, and then you do that for the. Then of course you can sweep them back as far as you want.
For fast mode rather than gliding.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. And that so I think this when it's in this mode, that's how it works. So when it's on the back, then they're supposed to be in sort of a heroic upwards sweep.
I would worry about my wing getting hit.
So you have your little kind of wingy thing there.
He's armed enough. He's
not gonna hey, he's not gonna have any problems. Where's the other thing? And the beam sabers will go over here, and this will get popped back there. Cool.
Wow, I'd almost want to print a blast that comes out the end.
That's a good idea. I'll have to try that. Cool.
Sort of a nice yellow.
Yeah, I'll have to find something and see how to sort of clip it on. Huh. You could almost just do something that kind of envelops the edge. The bulb with the and you can actually just print that, like that. So how's it coming along? I see a head, I see a torso.
Slow and steady. I've got these joints. I'm thinking they might be
those are
knees or elbows or shoulders.
Could be
shoulders, maybe. Yeah,
I don't know.
Shoulders.
Could be.
Yeah, probably shoulders, because they do have the light. Well, this guy has light everywhere.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Let's see. Yep, they're shoulders.
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure they're shoulders because it looks like hands go into them.
Gotcha. Nice.
But I'm a little bit further behind.
That's okay.
I'm not sure how long we should.
That's true. We've been going for quite a while. So, is 3D printing what I mostly do for a living, Brent? I do have some 3D printing. Yeah, I do have some 3D printing clients, but honestly, it is very difficult to find enough people who are willing to pay for 3D printing at a scale that is that will pay my bills. There are folks out there, there are clients out there, but there's just not that much that I've been able to find. So I do some of it, but not that.
So is it mostly ad hoc services?
Yeah.
Just is it partly because people don't realize that they could get stuff printed out? I
think that's part of it too. The other difficulty is we're at a spot where a lot of people, they hear about 3D printing, and they're like, great, I want you to prototype this for $10. And I don't have anything. I actually had somebody who all he had was a drawing he had made of this thing
cocktail
he wanted
napkin.
to do. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And he said, I want you to 3D print this.
Dimensions, scale, materials.
Hollow,
hollow,
exactly.
Details.
Yeah, and he wanted it cheap, and so it's that kind of thing where we can certainly talk those things out, but there's not a lot of I need 10 of these printed for $50 each. It's hard to find it and then make it work. Anyway, so thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, we'll be back for more with 5 more episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam and more model kits.
I'll still be working on this one. He'll have a new one probably.
I'll have something. Yeah, absolutely. All right, take care, guys. See ya.
See ya.